Hey fellas, it's Zem from Shrike Gaming again, and we are doing tips and tactics with bombers. Uh, Bombers are probably one of I would say easily, the more I think about it, the easiest way to take a objective from an enemy. And why? Because there's five of them. If all five drop on the target, they will turn it to whatever to you, or you will capture the point. I'm running in a training room here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, typically, with this kind of play, I'm actually running a Fochwolf 190, Focke-Wulf 190. Sorry, not Foch. Um, and we are playing this with the command center off here to the right. So now, this is, like I said, a training room, and I'm just trying to get the video up, so I'm going to be smoking in on here on this command center with nothing more than a couple fighters. So it's going to take a little while to catch it, to actually capture it. So we're going to drop in on here and nails the actual defense fighters, and hopefully should take us too long. Now, the thing about this, getting these bombers, if you really want to be successful with these bombers, you're going to have to escort them, and that's kind of the tactic. What I've found so far, the more of these bombers you can get on target, the easier it is to take the cap. I mean, you can get, four there, then have to shoot down a couple defense fighters. Maybe one defense fighter might not be all you have to shoot down. But it works out better if you can get all. Of course, you can get all five. I like to be able to, once I get on target, let them drop. If it's not enough, then I have to shoot down some defense fighters. But it works out pretty nice. And I'm not sure people are familiar with this. Now I've actually got now this is the point where I'd really like to have some GAs or some ordnance, but I didn't have any mounted. Just jumped in here in a training room real quick. I do have a couple bombs that can fit on here. So now I'm going to be going after I'm looking for light targets. I'm going to see if we can knock some of this AA out that's really, really being a pain in the ass. Okay, so there we have unarmored targets, and I just need a little bit to win this. So I'm going to blow it up. Flip back over. This is an energy fighter, so it's not exactly the best thing in the world for turning, but it does have some really nice guns. And that's what you're going to find with a lot of these energy fighters. And you're going to watch the rest of the other part of the video where I'm going to have to deal with defending the other part. But for the whole, the Focke-Wulf line of German energy fighters usually mount a fair amount of high caliber weapons, which work well in this game. And they're high altitude fighters, which means they have a lot of boost, and they're able to get up, which makes them pretty nice escorts for this kind of job. You're going to have to the bombers come in right around 5,000 feet, right? Unfortunately, after I've taken this, I'm waiting for the red to actually get a cap, so my bombers will show up. Because the bombers are not going to show up unless there's a red objective. So we're going to wait here just a little bit. I'm going to actually skip the video ahead a little bit so they actually take a cap. They're still working on it. Still working on it. So they finally take a cap, and now I got incoming bombers, right? So I'm going to jump in on these bombers and support. Like I said, they jump in around 5,000 feet. I'm at altitude already. So I'm just going to dog them to target. They're actually going to move. They're actually fairly fast. So you can't, if you're coming from below, you're going to have a hard time actually keeping up with them or even actually catching them. So unless you're at altitude, it's going to be pretty hard to catch them, or at least to keep with them. So I'm just going to dog them here. I'm going to flip back and forth here, stay, obviously I'm faster than they are, so I'm going to stay behind them. Most of the time, enemy fighters are going to come either they're going to make a head pass at them, but they really like to get behind the bombers. Of course, that's the easiest way to destroy them for the most part. Um, you know, if a light fighter gets up behind them, they're going to get wrecked. So if you are attacking these bomber formations, make sure you're in a heavy fighter or a multi-role or one of these high altitude energy fighters, because like I said, they usually carry large caliber cannons. They can deal with these bombers a lot better than a light fighter can. All right, so our target's coming up here shortly. I'm not getting contested right now, which is excellent. But what I'm trying to hear is going to show you exactly what happens when 5 bombers drop on target, right? They're going to be coming in here and they're just literally going to unload that payload on that target right there. And you will see how quickly you can change one of these caps. So I have the defense fighters rising up, and I'm actually going to take a couple of them here quickly here and see if I can persuade them not to do that. So they're blinking. That means they're getting ready to drop bombs, or actually they are dropping bombs right now, and you're going to see this fairly quickly here. All right, give me a boomerang in front of me. Oh God, I love that. So the bombers drop bombs, and did you see how quick that? Me taking out one fighter and their drop literally ended that cap. So that's how powerful these bombers are. They are ridiculous amount of damage, and a fighter like that can usually take it by themselves if you can keep them intact all the way to target. And that's kind of the key, is making sure you can keep them intact. Even if 4 gets through, they drop, then you can drop in on some of their defense fighters, and usually 1, maybe 2, you're going to easily turn that cap over. So now we have one more set coming in here, and I'm actually going to get back up to altitude and see if I can support them on the way in here. So they're coming, and they come in every 120 seconds. So if they're a long ways away on one of these caps, you might get actually 2 up at one time, and kind of a little train coming this way. So here comes the next set, and I'm actually just, like I said, drop in on top of them and escort them to target. Of course, now if this was going to be real gameplay, and you'll see I'm actually going to have an in-game real game where I'm defending, you will see, of course, fighters coming up to stop them. The bots are actually pretty good about it, so you get to either shoot them down, and there's actually a few, I don't know if I'll show it or not, but there's a video where I had 2 P-38s, and I run escort for them, and all I didn't actually shoot either one of them down, but I disturbed them enough that they couldn't keep up with the bombers. They fell out of formation. They were fighting me, and then that meant our bombers got through no problem. With those 2 P-38s, they would have destroyed all the bombers, but simply hanging around above them, I was able to make the P-38s turn away, and it was just a matter of for the bombers to get through and drop, and they turned the objective rather easily. I did die to the P-38s because they were taking turns making passes on me, but they fell so far behind the fighters they didn't have a chance. Like I said, once again, it's just a training room, but I'm trying to give you guys the tactics involved here of keeping these guys, and I think this map is almost designed by Wargaming to do this, teach you how this works, right? So we got a bullfighter up high. He's going to be trying to come in on these guys, so I'm going to try to intercede myself in between these guys, so they at least can get all 5 through. All right, so here he comes. And the nice thing, like I said, with these guys, they have a tendency to turn away if you start shooting. So he's busy trying to get away, and I was able to knock him out. And of course, you watched those guys dropped, the bombers all dropped, and the objective completely turned. So now I'm going to actually bring the other part of the defending part of it. So this next part of the video is going to be the defending part. Alright fellas, I'm back with the second part of the video, and this is going to be me defending the incoming fighters. I'm playing again, once again, playing the Focke-Wulf. And actually I have one other guy in here with me. He's actually a subscriber. He just happened to see me in game or in one of the training rooms, and he jumped in here and that stuff. So it's always good to see you guys. You know, give me a hey, a shout out or whatever, and hopefully I'm paying attention and at least say hi, or we'll even flight. So to deal with these bomber formations, it's best to light fighters are fine as long as they have the high altitude performance and the large caliber cannons. But typically you want to be flying heavy fighters into these bomber formations. They are the easiest and the quickest way of knocking these guys out. So lead these guys a little bit, and I'm just going to make a pass straight through this bomber formation and out the other side, back up and over. I'm trying to take as little damage as possible. Pull back over, focus on the low health ones. If you can knock out 2 of these bombers, they're not going to be able to turn the objective. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, is try to take at least 2 of these guys out before they drop. And if you can do that, you know, you've successfully, of course right there he's dropped. I have was unable to finish off the 3rd bomber, but now that these guys have dropped, you'll actually watch the circle here, which I'm over, which is the airfields, and of course they didn't take it. So still altitude, still at 5,000 feet because that's what they're coming through. The bombers didn't make through. I think there's a little bit of, if you get them through, they actually have to make it out alive before the bombs to count. So that means they have to accelerate up and away. So I'm ignoring the heavy fighters as much as I can, and I'm looking for this next set of bomber formations coming in. I actually thought about helping this guy, but I was like, nah, I need to focus on the bombers. And you'll see this P-38, he's going to come in here and actually defend a little bit. But now I'm going to do a head-on pass with these guys. This works well with the multi-rolls or heavy fighters. Then when you have rockets, you can take one of these fighters out, or these bombers out, with a rocket, a couple of rockets. You know, well, unless you got one of the bigger rockets. But yeah, it's pretty easy just to fly right into them, go head-to-head with them, and just you know, salvo your rockets into them and take them out. And all I'm doing here, like I said, once again, is cleaning the bombers out. At least 2, depending on how damaged the objective is. But like I said, it's pretty easy once you get this figured out. Yeah, there we go. So now, that's this video once again in the training room, and now I'm going to bring you actually the 3rd part of the video where I'm actually going to be doing this in game, where I'll be fighting, taking out bombers squadrons with a Spitfire. Okay, fellas, back with the 3rd part of the video, and this is actually in game. This is where I'm flying with the Tier 8 Spitfire. I of course don't have this completely upgraded. I still have a couple engines I think to get on it, but I do have the guns and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to see me in this game defend against a bomber formation using essentially a light fighter. But this is a very good light fighter. It's got 420s, which makes it fairly easy to chew through bomber formations. But it's amazing how, if you don't do this, if you don't defend against a bomber formation, how quickly they can chew through your objectives. And sadly, you know, heavy fighters, even the human, I should say, always with the humans, their failure to actually notice bomber formations and not take care of them annoys the holy hell out of me. They are better equipped to do it than I am, but they oftentimes fail completely at doing it. So sometimes it falls to the light fighter, or the multi-role to take care of the problem. Having a hell of a time tonight. Alright, so we're still working on this airfields. I am looking for easy targets, always low health targets first. You know, if they have 50 hit points, finish them off. And maybe, no! There we go. Yes, life is good. Clear tails. He's all over my teammate. Get in behind him, finish him off, flip over. Alright, so we have 2 locked now. I have, yeah, there's a few Spitfires here and a J8M. And of course the I-250. So we're going to play a little bit of, hopefully knock out this jet fighter here. And that's about the time when the bombers show up. So I'm going to finish off one more target here. And then I'm going to, oops, I'm sorry. Apparently I'm actually going to go back after this J8M and see if we can finish him off before he gets away. And no, I did get the kill. So, enemy bombers, 5,000 feet is what they come in at. So I'm going to be headed that way. The further out you can get them, the better, of course. You're going to want to keep them out, you know, at least halfway between, by the time you catch them, to where your objective is. Gives you a little bit better chance to get away from it. Apparently I wasn't as fast as I thought I was. Apparently I'm going to shoot a few more things before I go over there. It's kind of hindsight, you know, I've already played the game, but at the time I apparently wasn't paying as much attention as I thought I was. But they are incoming. There is a few guys right now after them, so I'm going to assist them here shortly, once they get a little closer here. So I'm at about 3,000 feet, still got a little bit of boost, so I'm going to try to get up to altitude here. They're coming in right now, and you know, with the 20s you can stay back a little bit and take off quite a bit of hit points without actually having to get terrible close and take a bunch of damage from rear gunners. You know, right about that 23, 2500, these guns work pretty well. And that's what I'm talking about with the high calibers. If you're flying an aircraft that has mostly machine guns, you're going to have to get a lot closer, and you're going to have to spend a lot more time in the rear of those bombers. Where this, you know, at 24, 2500 feet, I can nail them. And these guys are all most likely carrying machine guns for defense, so they just don't have the range. Saves me the HP, you know, rather easily. Bring the last one in, about 2450 I think is what I'm shooting at. You can see how much more effective the cannons are against, of course, these larger HP targets. Alright, leave him. I'm going to flip back around. We're up 2 caps. We're actually up on influence point or superiority points. So I'm just going to stay on this. Apparently there's just 2 of us that are doing it. So here comes our next set of bombers. We have bombers up here, and of course they're all over them, trying to knock them out. But I do believe later on in the game we do get at least 1 flight through it and do a pretty good job of it. So now we're up 3, and you know, you notice that just that one bomber right there that did get through, did a significant amount of damage to our command center. So pull over once again, looking for low health bombers as much as I can, and just start pummeling with these 420s. And they chew very quickly. They go right through that. I'm on the rear, probably not the best place for me, but right now I can't get up or come in from the side because of how fast they're moving right now. So I'll just stay here. They're not doing a whole bunch of damage, so I'm just going to stay on here. And I do not have a problem shooting bots. You know, you see that? Yeah, he's going to get in the way there. Put a couple bursts in there. When they heat up, then you let off the trigger a little bit, and back at it again. So we got an incoming bomber. These things are absolutely shit. There's a few things in this game that, you know, especially them high altitude bombers, RBB-17s, and a fair amount of the high tier ground attack planes that need some serious rebalancing with this new mode. I mean, they're the GAs at tier 8s and above are usually always top combat points. With their HP and rear-mounted guns, they just wreck shit. So, one more flight of bombers, I believe. No, there might be more in that one. But here they come. Once again, just keep them. You just got to keep them clear. You got to slowly but surely knock them out. Find them low health ones. Put a few shots. Yep, there we go. Flip back over. Gain altitude. Try not to go low if you can. It just means you have to fly. Of course, come back up, which means you're going to lose speed. And these guys are flying right around 250 miles an hour, so it's not easy once you do lose altitude to try to gain altitude plus keep up speed. If you do flip up and over, you've gained altitude, and then of course you can transfer that back into speed to catch those bombers. So I'm kind of giving you a little bit of tips, some tactics and tips using bombers. Use them, especially as a solo pilot. They work great if you can keep them intact all the way to where they got to drop. So these are, in my opinion, one of the easiest ways, probably maybe the easiest way to actually capture an objective from the enemy, the red objective points. These are not used against neutrals. These are just straight up objective points from the red team. So yeah, if you can get one of these formations over top of a red objective, 5 bombers, yeah, you will win it easily, very easily. Shoot a few more down here. Almost done with the last bomber, and we are up a whole bunch. We got 4, actually 4 of them captured, and you can see that we had it. I believe 2 bomber groups that got through were able to turn these objectives fairly easy. The last bomber formation on their command center did a real nice job. And it's left it under a half health. So depending on how many of those bombers in that last formation get through, they should be able to take that command center. And I'm just staying on target here, trying to keep these bombers away. I do have quite a bit of support. This is quite a massive amount of planes we have up here. But yeah, it's very easy to lose a game just by enemy players or enemy objectives keeping these bombers up and running over and over and over again. I actually find the bomber formations to be even more effective than, say, the military base with its rockets. It takes several runs to actually make that work. So I guys hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be seeing you guys a little bit later.